Hey everybody, great to see you again. Thanks for stopping in at the Red Barn. In this episode, we're back at the Secret Undisclosed shop and we're joining Greg to see what kind of progress he can make continuing to move Wide Red from the noodle that it was to the super duper awesome car that we know it can be. So, before we head over there, please like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, leave me a comment, do all those great things, and let's get caught up with Greg and see what kind of progress he can make. Enjoy. All right, and with the car up in the air, like I said, one of the things we have to go after is the shift linkage is pretty sloppy, and here's one reason why. You can see there's a bushing here, and it's all cracked, and you can see it moves around a little bit. Then there's this bushing.
What bushing?
I mean, there's a difference between having a bushing that's gone bad and just not having the bushing in there at all. So we think we figured out why the shifter doesn't work that well. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like I said, at least they were consistent with the hackery. So, new firewall bushing will solve that problem. And this little guy right here will solve that problem. And then I've got a different factory shifter that's going to replace the one that's in here, because I think that's not doing us any favors either. But for sure, that is the major culprit for the lack of shifting quality. So we'll get that taken care of too. How about some positive news for this car? Got to give him some points for this. This is the Boxster caliper, same as I run on the LS, and so 911 vented rotor, right? So the brake setup on this is I like it. Less ideal, but you know, it's just the way it happened to work out. It's running a set of adapters, and I didn't realize this until the other day when I tried to swap another set of wheels onto the car just to see. These are the Porsche 5x130 bolt patterns. And if you look, you can see this is not 5x130. So these super duper cool wheels, where are they? They're around here somewhere. Oh, they're over there. Those wheels are a Chevy bolt pattern, not a Porsche bolt pattern. Not that that makes a difference, other than when you heard us talking about working the spacer setup, we really don't, we kind of can't. Well, I don't know, so maybe we could, but we're really kind of only adding more outboard spacing, which is not what this car needs. It probably needs less outboard spacing. All right, we're back at it after a nice Thanksgiving weekend, and I received a phone call this morning that said, hey, it's all painted and done. And so just a quick once over. The trunk floor is in. It's all been painted, and it's not going to be great with the lighting just because of where we are and the lighting.
Black in a hole. Yeah,
black and underneath there. But essentially, for all intents and purposes, it looks almost like it was never removed in the first place. And you can see those little corner pieces are stitched in and all tidied up. This looks really good. All of the struts, everything's painted and it's done. So now, thank you for that awesome work. Now you can see what Greg is up to is, as we've mentioned, adding these tabs that are the surfaces for the nose to be spot welded to, getting all these surfaces prepped. The nose is all ready to go. This is ready to go. This is ready to go. And then something I didn't notice was there was no shrouding in here for this radiator. What we need is some shroud to come up to the nose to make sure all the air that goes through the nose goes through the radiator, because what was happening right now was cooling air was able to go right around the radiator, path of least resistance. So this needs to be worked out, which is no big deal, but it needs to have a shroud. So that's going to be added. And once the nose is on, we are done with the metal work and we can move on to all the mechanical stuff that we want to get to on this car. So let's go on the nose. And now it's to position the nose. And so let me just take you around the inside. You can see it's lined up. It's got, we got a little bit of manipulating to do, but for the most part, it's only clamped up here. So it's kind of pivoting. So pay no attention to some of the gaps you see. But right now what we're trying to do is get left to right. So we got the laser sitting on a transmission stand, aiming at the front of the car, and you can see we're targeting center of the center hole. center of this bolt, which lines up with the center of that. Then we're coming up onto the chassis. I'm gonna have to come over around here. And there's this little teeny indent in the firewall bulkhead that is the center. And you're not gonna be able to see it, but we've got a center line hitting the middle of the brace of the grate in the fresh air intake. So we've got a straight line coming down the front of the car, going through the nose to make sure we've got it positioned left and right. The up and down sort of takes care of itself based on, you can see the shape of some of the structure of this piece and the nose and where it sits up down, but that really sort of locates it up down, and now we've got it set left right. So now we'll just get a couple of sheet metal screws, self-tapping screws, or some Clecos, so that we can repeat this position as we're starting to shape the other sheet metal to bring these two panels together. And the nose will then go on the car. You know, you go to all the trouble of buying all this new sheet metal, and then you
cut it all apart.
Cut it all apart. So this is going to be necessary because you'll see here when we go to fit the fender, the way the fiberglass was shaped, this was just never going to work without cutting into the fiberglass. And I think that's more structurally important than this, because we can tie together with, you know, internal braces and things that we're kicking around. But right now we've got to get the fender to fit back on and use these same mounting points that it had, because we know those shut lines were pretty good. So he's just going to trim this up now and going to start fitting the fender. Okay, now the fun begins. We've got the nose fit, and I hope what's coming through is you can see that the gap between the factory floor pan and the nose is nice and tight. We got it clamped, and we've got the super duper spot welder here. And it was fun to set up and dial in, but now here is what's going to happen is Greg's going to give it the old heave-ho. Go ahead.
Heave-ho.
And move over about an inch or so and spot again. Okay, pull that out for just a second. And here's what you can see is very factory looking spot welds all the way along that seam. So it's just a matter of creeping along here and getting this nose welded on. Well, man, oh man, oh man, that thing makes short work of doing almost factory level work. If you look at these spot welds, I mean, you know, is it factory? No, it's not quite factory, but relatively speaking, and different than plug weld, you know, and in all these areas. Now, the fun part was because of the nature of the shapes I have to work with and the angles that these tips have, it didn't allow us to get into this area, because you can see we were able to get down here because this thing slopes away immediately, but as soon as we got into this area, those angles didn't work. So Greg didn't have to come in here and plug weld or seam weld both of these outside sections, and likely the same, kind of hard to see, but I'm down in where the headlight bucket used to be. Same thing in this area. But the good news is the nose is on the car, and we have yet to trim this side, but you can see we didn't come away with much different than what the previous build had. They had cut this down here, but we are leaving this because, as Greg's putting the fender back on, we have opted to put the fender behind this panel. And you can see with the Zeus fasteners lined up, if you position that up top, you can see this thing just works out great, and we'll be able to put either a fastener, you know, right through here, depending upon how we decide to have the bumper, you know, come off the car. We want to make this so that the, you know, whatever needs to come off can come off with just a couple or handful of fasteners, and simply and safely. If you look back to that episode where I first took this apart and sliced my hand open because of all the hinky ways things were bolted on. But there it is. Talk about a totally different nose on a car. That is the proverbial going nowhere. The struts are in, painted, the floor pan's been replaced, the nose is back on the car, and yes, we will have to work out the venting for airflow to the radiator. And now you can see the shroud, right? So we'll need to cover, or we'll need to close off the section from the radiator to the nose. And then, yes, there will need to be a cap across the top, just like in the LS car and in what I got to build for the Ferrari car. So Wide Red is a completely transformed beast from the gas tank firewall forward. Boy, oh boy, what a change, Greg. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure. All right, so back at it. Greg has had the front end up against the car, and you can see all kinds of fiberglass dust, and that is because
I'm itchy.
There's now, with the nose there was no nose before. Greg's been offering this piece up to the car and then just going after clearancing so it fits where it needs to fit, hence the mess.
And making it look nice, because the curves before look like a, you know, like someone just cut straight lines, and so let's make cuts.
He's doing bodywork.
Yeah.
Anyway, this fender is slightly different shape than this fender, and it's slightly different shaped right in this area. And this is preventing the fender from sitting behind that little outboard piece that we left on the nose. So we're going to do a little bit of surgery here to cut this to allow the part that's in the way to flex behind. And then once it's all fit to the car, we will get this re-fiberglass back in place to keep this strength, because there's a lot of strength right here. But it's in the way and it needs to move. The good news is about, you know, we don't have to worry about where the fender needs to go. It needs to go where it fits onto those Zeus tabs. So Greg's going to go ahead and just surgicalize this thing. All right, let's fit this thing. All right, now you can see what we were up against. This, you can see, look, it's what, 3/8 of an inch, which was the guess.
Yeah.
But now with this behind, we got a little bit of a gap here that we didn't have on the other side, but welcome to the world of fiberglass. But there you go. That now fits behind just like the other one. And so we can actually, you know, just put a spacer in there to keep clearance and glass this back together like this, pretty up this seam, and we'll have a nice fit. And now you can see where the opening here for the radiator, it doesn't need to be any higher than where this wall goes. So if we're going to open this up, where's our Sharpie? All right, and I don't know if you saw that, but it took getting both fenders on to get the nose completely centered. So if you look at the new marks, they are actually symmetric to the nose, so that's good. So the nose is actually where it needs to be. And I was just reviewing more stuff with Greg, and here you can see, a little bit hard to see, but he made up some little 90 bend tabs, and those are spot welded to the chassis here and then spot welded to the nose here. That's done on both sides. And then again, hard to see, but he was able to get down in there with the spot welder. But you can also see how he went through and added a few little MIGs in there. And a little bit of MIGging down in there as well. So this nose, right, these were all done here, a little more here. So this is all the way done on the car. And now we're just toying with, Greg had a good idea of, you know, let's leave a center support section. I forgot that's exactly what I did on the LS car. So it looks like we're just going to open up here, actually over to here, and the brake duct hole, we'll simply design the shroud to go from the radiator to this corner. So the brake duct will actually feed more air into the radiator for what it's worth. And there we go. So the metal work is almost done on this car. Yay.
Then the paint.
And then this will all get painted black and disappear. Okay, then the last thing we're going to look at on here is the fact that, you know, not that we're surprised, but this little piece that's in here is riveted on. And what this is what used to be the floor of the original opening, which is, you can see, it's supposed to be here, because this is a little unnecessary. So they cut it off and flipped it over and riveted it to the bottom of the air dam. So that's the bad news. The good news is we're going to unrivet it, turn it back up to where it is, and patch this in so we have the original look of the Group 5 nose. And yeah, this black section is going to have to get repainted. But that is going to be how we solve for not having some giant opening that's unnecessary. Anyway, that'll be fun. All right, time to sort these front brake lines, and let's start with an issue here. And this one is, I think you can see that, if I can get this thing to turn a little bit. This was a banjo bolt put right up against a powder-coated caliper. And got enough brake fluid under it that it started to corrode the powder coat. So this is not a drip, this is actually powder coat that brake fluid has eaten through. So that's point number one. And then point number two, you can see here that with the, well, these aren't P-clamped down anymore, but it's easier on this side. But you can see what was happening is when this was turned full lock, you can sort of, maybe that's okay on that little shorty brake line. But when you go this way, contacting the sway bar drop link. Anyway, this is all got to get redone. And the real issue is they brought the brake line under the gas tank. There's a firewall in the footwell, and then there's the gas tank area, and then there's that wall. And so what we're going to do is pull the gas tank out, and if you'll recall from earlier, this is where the factory master cylinder would have been. And so what we're going to do is redo the line from the front master cylinder to a bulkhead fitting here. Then it's hard line out here, up just above the steering rack, around the corner, and through this factory fitting. So it's hard lines, all protected. And then we will get another hard line from the caliper to that tab on the strut. And we're back to this factory setup where then we just run a soft flex line from here that S bends back and picks up the hard line here. And that S allows for up and down, clears everything here, and then there's no brake lines in the front trunk area at all. So we're just looking for a way to siphon the gas tank, and we will be on to rebuilding the entire front brake line setup. Okay, gas tank drained and removed. But for those of you that have never seen how the gas tank situation works in a 914, there's the big opening. Anyway, let's look at what we're up to here. Okay, so this line, that's the clutch line, and this is the rear brake line. And both those lines run back to fittings that transition to the hard lines that run through the chassis to the back of the car for both the clutch and the rear brakes. Here's the front brake line setup. And buried under the sway bar, where things are zip tied to it, is a brake switch, pressure switch. So we got to preserve that and move it. But here's interesting, it's pinched right here, it's kinked. Not fully kinked, not closed obviously, there are front brakes, but I'm wondering, Greg pointed this out, I didn't notice that right away. And so maybe there's a bit of why the brakes are a little bit the way they are, is because this line is not full diameter. I don't know, maybe. So what we are going to do is we're going to eliminate this bulkhead fitting, eliminate this bulkhead fitting, eliminate all the lines in the front of the car. And as I said, we're going to be bringing a hard line out from right off of the inner panel of the footwell, hard line up to this tab, and then soft line to the strut here, and then a hard line from there to the caliper. And that's going to get rid of all of this stuff in the front trunk and tidy that up nicely. But anyway, that looks like it's going to do it for this week. Greg got a ton of work done, so thank you, sir.
No problem.
Fabulous work as always. Yet to do, he's going to go back now to work on the shrouding. And I'm going to say, as always, thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment. We love your comments. And everybody take care. We'll talk to you all again real soon. Bye-bye.